Have you ever pondered the intricate complexity of life and wondered what really makes us tick? The answer, as it turns out, is both incredibly simple and astoundingly complex. It all comes down to cells. Yes, those microscopic units of life that you may remember from your high school biology class. They are the unsung heroes, the quiet workhorses that keep the machinery of life humming along. Every living organism, from the smallest bacteria to the largest whale, is made up of cells. We as humans are essentially a bustling city of trillions of cells. Each one of these cells is a living entity in itself, capable of performing all the basic functions necessary for life. Cells are the fundamental units of life, the bricks and mortar that construct the vast edifice of life. They are the smallest entities that can be considered alive, able to reproduce, metabolize, respond to their environment, and grow. But have you ever wondered what's inside these cells? What makes them tick? Well, each cell is a bustling microcosm, filled with a variety of structures, each with their own unique function. There's the cell membrane, the gatekeeper that controls what goes in and out of the cell. The cytoplasm, a jelly-like substance that houses other cellular structures. The mitochondria, often referred to as the powerhouse of the cell. The ribosomes, the protein factories. And let's not forget the nucleus, the control center that holds the cell's genetic material. Each of these components plays a vital role in maintaining the life of the cell, and by extension, the life of the organism. They work together in a harmonious symphony of life, each contributing their unique notes to create the beautiful melody that is life. So, as you can see, life is not just a simple matter of being alive. It's a complex, intricate dance of cellular processes, all working together to maintain the delicate balance that is life. So, if cells are the building blocks of life, what makes up these cells? Stay tuned to find out more about the fascinating world of cell biology. Imagine, if you will, a bustling city teeming with activity. Now, picture that city being a cell. Mind-boggling, isn't it? But let's dive in. In our city cell, the nucleus plays the role of the city hall. It's the control center, the decision-making hub, where the cell's genetic material is stored. It's like the mayor of the cell, giving orders and making sure everything runs smoothly. Now let's talk about the cytoplasm. Think of it as the city's landscape, the bustling streets, parks, and plazas where all the action takes place. The cytoplasm is where the cell's machinery gets down to business, carrying out the functions that keep the cell, and by extension you, alive and kicking. Moving on to the cell membrane, or, as I like to call it, the city wall. This isn't some medieval stone wall, though. It's a sophisticated structure that provides protection and controls what gets in and out of the cell. It's like the city's security force, checking IDs at the gate and ensuring only the right folks get through. The plasma membrane is another name for the cell membrane, just to keep you on your toes. It's not trying to confuse you, I promise. It's just another term for the same thing, our city's security force. Now let's visit the mitochondria, the city's power plants. These little guys are the energy producers, converting nutrients into usable energy to keep the city cell humming along. We also have ribosomes, the tiny factories where proteins are made. These are the city's manufacturing plants, churning out the goods that the cell needs to function. And let's not forget the lysosomes, the city's waste disposal system. They break down and recycle waste materials and cellular debris, keeping the city cell clean and efficient. How's that for a city tour? But hold on, we have got some important landmarks to visit. Scene script. Next stop, the city's powerhouse, the mitochondria. Imagine a bustling city, lights twinkling, engines humming, all that jazz. Now think about what's powering all of that action. That's right, it's the mitochondria. These are the cell's energy producers, the power plants, if you will. They're in charge of breaking down nutrients into usable energy, a substance called adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. It's like the electricity that powers a city, but for the cell. Now, how do these powerhouses do it? Well, they've got a nifty process called cellular respiration. It's a bit like how a coal-fired plant turns coal into electricity, except in this case, the coal is glucose, and the electricity is ATP. But don't let the name fool you. It's not all about heavy lifting and breaking things down. Mitochondria also have a softer side. They play a crucial role in cell growth and death, and even help control the cell cycle and cell growth. But what's a city without its factories? This brings us to the ribosomes, the cell's protein factories. Ribosomes read the cell's genetic blueprint and assemble the raw materials into proteins. These proteins are the cell's workers, carrying out all the tasks necessary for the cell to function. You see, proteins are a bit like the cell's workforce. They're the builders, the plumbers, the electricians, the bakers, the candlestick makers. You name it, a protein probably does it. They build structures, carry out reactions, transport materials, send signals. The list goes on. Without proteins, the cell would be like a city without its workers. Quiet, empty, and not getting a whole lot done. But here's the thing. Just like how a city needs power to function, a cell needs energy to produce these proteins. It's a beautiful partnership. The mitochondria and the ribosomes working together to keep the cell up and running. With energy and proteins, our city is buzzing, but how does it keep itself clean? Welcome to the city's waste disposal system, the lysosomes. Now imagine if your city didn't have a waste management system. Trash would pile up, right? Well, the same happens in our cells. But thanks to lysosomes, the cell's waste disposal system, that doesn't happen. These small round organelles filled with enzymes act like the cell's recycling center, breaking down waste materials and cellular debris. Like a well-oiled machine, lysosomes take the unwanted materials within the cell, engulf them, and utilizing their enzymes, break them down into simpler substances. These substances are then recycled back into the cell, contributing to its health and function. So you see, nothing goes to waste in the world of cells. But let's shift gears and head over to the nucleus, the cell's information center. If the cell were a city, the nucleus would be its city hall. It's where the cell's genetic material is stored and where all cell activities are controlled. Inside the nucleus, we find a substance called chromatin, a combination of DNA and protein. When the cell is not dividing, the chromatin is like a bowl of spaghetti, all tangled and mixed up. But when the cell prepares to divide, the chromatin condenses into structures we all know as chromosomes. And here's a fun fact. The human cell has 46 chromosomes. That's 23 from mom and 23 from dad. These chromosomes hold the blueprint for everything about you, from the color of your eyes to your ability to roll your tongue. At the center of the nucleus, we find the nucleolus. This little guy is responsible for producing ribosomes, the cell's protein factories. So in a way, it's like the cell's human resources department, ensuring the cell has all the workers it needs to function efficiently. So there you have it, the waste disposal system and the information center of our cellular city. Our city, the cell, is indeed a marvel of nature, but we're not done yet. Let's not forget our city's transport network, the endoplasmic reticulum. This complex network of passageways is like the cell's highway system, bustling with activity as it shuttles proteins and other substances from one part of the cell to another. The endoplasmic reticulum, or ER for short, is a bit like the cell's Uber service, but instead of ferrying passengers around a city, it's transporting proteins and lipids. It operates in two parts, the rough ER and the smooth ER. The rough ER, studded with ribosomes, is like the manufacturing hub where proteins are synthesized. Once these proteins are made, they are folded and processed in the ER's lumen, ready for their journey. Then there's the smooth ER, a quieter neighborhood where lipids are synthesized. It's also where toxins are detoxified, a bit like the cell's detox center. So you could say that the endoplasmic reticulum is the cell's transport, manufacturing, and detoxification department all rolled into one. Now let's move on to the Golgi apparatus, the packaging department of the cell. Picture a busy post office during the holiday season. That's the Golgi apparatus for you. This organelle takes the proteins from the ER, modifies them, sorts them, and then packages them into vesicles. These vesicles are like the cell's delivery vans, carrying the proteins to their final destinations, whether it's within the cell or out of it. The Golgi apparatus is also responsible for producing lysosomes, the cell's waste disposal system. So it's not just a packaging department, but also a manufacturing unit. In essence, the endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus work together like a well-oiled machine, ensuring the cell's transportation and packaging needs are met efficiently. So there you have it, a bustling city all within a tiny cell. It's quite the wonder, isn't it? From transport to packaging, every organelle plays a crucial role, making the cell a marvel of biological engineering.